Hi guys, so I'm going to just throw some cards on the prophecy of the 3 days of darkness via solar flares. Now, this is just something I always wanted to throw cards on. And as you can see this morning, I've done nothing basically. Well, besides splash water on my face, washed it and pulled my hair back. That's really been about it. I'm having some coffee. But what I want to look at is whether there's any credence to this. Now, I will do this. Like 2012, I was cautious then too, because a lot of the Mayan calendar thing was trending and people were getting caught up in that. And then when that came and went, it became some other prophecy, some other thing. And my concern with like the 5D and all this stuff going on is that what are people going to do when this comes and goes? Well, they'll just latch on to something else. But it's a fantasist escapism. And if you're investing yourself in this fantasy, unless you're really working on yourself, I think you can be wasting your time. So I just like to make sure. And you don't have to take my word for it. If you feel a certain way about it, that's your deal, just as this is mine, and I'm just sharing this video to see what I get. With the 3 days, this goes back to this prophecy was said to be connected to Padre Pio and Saint Pio now, and other people, but I'm not really sure. I've always had kind of a feeling about it, and I think that's a good idea. Just to say, well, that's certainly possible, but let me just take a look and see how likely it is. Let me check in with my guides and see how I feel about it. And I do this because I see, like I said, a lot of, if you've been around a while, at least since the 90s, you see like a lot of trends come and go in spiritual beliefs. And yes, and it's kind of gross, but there are spiritual trends that people get hooked into. And I think no matter what, you learn something, but some people can only get kind of more mired in these escapist pursuits of mind. So let's just see what we get. I'd like to know I'm asking you, my guides, what is the likelihood of the 3 days of darkness from solar flares and this prophecy? What do we need to know about it? Yeah, I think I like that best. What do we need to know about this 3 days of darkness prophecy that's been going around for a long time? Is this much like the Mayan calendar thing? And if it is, I expect to get cards like the 7 of Cups and maybe the Devil, where we're just kind of giving up our power over to the escapist idea. It's a maladaptive. It can be like the escapism that's not healthy, that kind of thing. There's certain cards I will expect to get and I'll be looking for. And if I don't get them, well, I'll just keep an open mind then, won't I? All right, let's see what we get. I think I've shuffled them really good because I've done some off-camera readings here, and I've had to reset my camera and come back on and do the reading over. Interruptions and such. Okay, well, here we have the anxiety with the 9 of Swords. I think, this is, again, much like the anxiety that generalized that that 2012 produced in people. And this does have the Tower. There is anxiety over like a sudden event that would create disruption. Okay. Now this is either we're tracking, or this might show one of two things. I'm going to really have to see the other cards around it. That you're being this can sometimes indicate you're being too worried. Sometimes over something you have no control over, that you would just have to roll with. We'll know more with the other cards. But sometimes the 9 of Swords can be like your worry is kind of useless. Now, this can be night terrors, so on and so forth. And people may have been having these. And it's not to say it's not a possibility. I see it as something that certainly could happen. That's why I'm looking. But I don't know if I feel like it's right, you know, locked in, so to speak, or more of something that's definitely coming. Let's see. We're getting the King of Cups. I keep getting the King of Cups in regard to this. And we're getting the Eight of Pentacles. So I'm getting a male figure here who's very compassionate and empathetic, but also knows his stuff. He's like a specialist. He has special knowledge, special skill. Sorry about the wound back. Ignore it, please. So this is someone that's at the forefront of this, that's knowledgeable and aware. Okay. And I do think that there is worry. I do think there is general worry that we could get really bad flares and have these problems for sure without this prophecy out there. I think that's always been a concern. I get the Five of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands. There is a defensive aspect, an overcoming obstacles, coming from a very challenging place, but it's also a place of not feeling connected, feeling outside the circle, so to speak. There's a bit of like a depressive energy here that people are fighting. And maybe that's part of the appeal that, you know, we would have these events that will just magically change things. That's, again, magical thinking in this way is not good thinking. It's escapist. It's not grounded in reality. I feel like something's being beefed up that has been perhaps on the weaker side with this. Maybe it's the systems, or I don't know what kind of thing they would have to take care of with regards to energy and so on and so forth, but like the grid and things like that. It looks like something goes from being kind of anemic to becoming stronger. To get the wands there. Then they could challenge us. Some of these flares could definitely challenge. There's the Five of Wands. Lots of challenging cards here. Interesting. You know, I get the Five of Wands and the Knight of Cups. And again, be careful of what people offer you. This is what I was saying from the get-go. So this is interesting to get this message. This is the Knight of Cups, and we have the Five of Wands that I feel like is being offered in that bouquet. That looks like a bouquet of roses that they're handing off to you, but it's really something that's conflictual. There's a great deal of controversy. And it doesn't quite sit right. It's a real struggle here. So I think, again, watch things that put you in a position of fear. It's not that you will never not feel some fear on this planet, of course, and with these changes and things. But just like when they trotted out 2012, be very wary of what people are saying. Here, partake of this cup. This is I wouldn't. I would be very, very careful about where I invested my energy, where these trending belief systems are that people are promoting out there. A lot of these people don't always know better than your own intuition. And some of these people, I think, lose their radar because they're making a living off promoting a lot of these ideas. And I think that can get skewed. I'm probably not going to be very popular for making this post. The Nine of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. This shows to me like you guys are going to be all right. This is celebration. This is joy. And I think being well on a physical level, our environment, and on the communicative level with the bird up there. So this looks really positive. We do get the Five of Cups, though, with the Ace of Cups. And this is some feelings, I think, of dealing with some feelings of loss, but also opening up again. We're being told that despite the pains, we need to open our hearts and just maintain, I think, compassion for those that are going through difficult times and reach out to one another. But again, I would be very careful about believing a lot of these things. Okay. Okay, yeah, King of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. A lot of these things are being promoted by groups of people that also work with each other. There's a business angle on this. The Hanged Man and the Queen of Wands. This makes me feel like there could be some withhold or suspension. And with the Queen of Wands, I'm thinking solar flare. So it could be that we'll have them, but maybe they don't quite manifest the way of the 3 days of darkness. There's a different way to look at these flares and a different perspective than what's being presented by, I think, people putting this out there. And again, I think we could experience where we go 24 hours or something like that. We have that but we have that happen a lot here in California with the energy. Our power lines are not very good. And during fire season, we have to go without power. So I don't know how I feel about this. The cards kind of like, there's a lot of negativity around this that isn't helpful. Let me just throw again. What about this 3 days of darkness? Is this kind of prophecy more escapist, fantasist, or is it accurate? Is it something we should really be concerned with? Or is this just someone drumming up our fears to trend and be relevant and earn income? And I think a lot of people really do believe these things, just like they did in 2012. And then, that's why I say be very careful, be observant and go, well, it may not manifest exactly the way people expect. And anytime you kind of say, this is exactly how it's going to happen, you need to be careful. Because it's very rare that absolutes manifest in this way. Okay, whoops. Getting. Is this prophecy much like the 2012 prophecy? Is it kind of off? Asking my guides. Well, I get the Two of Wands and the Six of Wands. I think it's people that want to be recognized for something and they see an opportunity. I get to travel and the spotlight is on them. They get attention from it. This is not what I wanted to see. Not that I want to see the 3 days of darkness, but it's kind of, yeah, again, the Knight of Cups and the Three of Wands. Be careful about what future, even for me, anyone, events that people offer you as a truth. Be watchful yourself and, you know, don't overcommit. Keep an open mind and be very discerning and use your foresight with the Three of Wands, where people approaching with these ideas, offering these ideas, are concerned. Because when we look at these, we can see that there's a love of attention. There is seeing opportunity. Again, it looks much more like something that people are more interested in doing for themselves than the actual truth of the event. And we're being cautioned here because we're shown. It looks like there is some sort of a balance that will occur with any kind of, I think, exceptional big flares. And there is a struggle to bring balance. Look at the flares actually reaching the earth. Oh no, that's the moon, the sun and the moon. I think we're going to get them just by way of not the 3 days of darkness, mind you, but the solar flares. And we will have, I think, some issues with this 5, but I don't think that it's going to be like that prophecy. There's healing then. Healing also from, I believe, people that want to mislead. Again, you know how the Knight of Cups offers out? Well, here, again, we're getting this same gesture with the Devil card of reaching out to you. So what I just feel like, pull back and heal. Pull back and do your own healing. Do not readily accept what is offered to you. It may not be valid. It might not be grounded in healthy reality. I definitely feel it's so, these cards are so interesting. This Temperance, though, with the sun and the moon. I just need to look at it. And the Five of Wands. I do feel like there is some challenge, but I feel like it'll be managed somehow, some way. There will be kind of a balance that kicks in, but it could be a little challenging. But I'm not getting heavy duty issues. I am getting more of like, watch out what message you accept and invest in. And you want to pull back from these really big, salacious kinds of trending stuff and keep an open mind, but keep your, your feet, that 4, keep your stability in the face of temptation. And there's a lot of temptation to join the bandwagon as well. I think the peer pressure to like, oh, I believe in all these things that people offer and make a trend out there on. People are trying to sell you something, is what I get too, that devil. 9 of Cups and the Star. And there's a message about keeping hope. And the 9 of Cups is extremely positive card of, I feel like, at least satisfaction or contentment. And though there are difficulties, there is looking to your guides to lead you. You know, you have a connection to the divine light. And that's needs to be between, you know, I just feel like you don't need a middle person that's peppering you with these different ideas that have become trendy. 2012, 5D, all this stuff. It's just, I'm just getting, you need to tune in to your own guides and do your own work. And take note, but don't succumb to the message. It just looks like some of these are dicey out there. Yeah, look at this. I got the King of Pentacles earlier. It is more about business. And this is the underhanded card, or the trying to get away with it card of the 7 of Swords. So there's some things that are not quite, that are underhanded, that are going on behind the scenes, so to speak, with this kind of stuff. And it really comes down to, it becomes, I think, appealing for its financial ability, you know, to promote. And it looks like there might be a male here that could be someone that likes to fan this in order to benefit from it in some way. He's sitting there with his coins, but he's kind of hidden. You know, people may not be aware that he benefits. Whoever this person is, the people that end up promoting and putting these things out there and getting things to go viral, if you will, like 2012. I hate to keep referencing that, but you'll see what I mean. The Fool and Judgment. You know, be, again, in the same set of, be careful. Be careful of what you believe. You could be foolishly walking into something. It is better to just kind of be a little more hesitant to fully invest in walking over the edge of the cliff by paying attention to your conscience that says maybe, which is the little dog usually here. It says maybe, well, they don't have a dog on this Fool, but usually there's a dog nipping at the heels, which is really kind of your own quiet voice of inner barometer. And to me, this is, again, about being accountable. The message is that you just need to be accountable for yourself and your actions, and continue to evolve and grow in that way. And to be able to spot what is kind of a foolish risk to get involved in, to invest yourself in. I also think there's a new path opening up that people of evolving, where people will, I think, perhaps eventually not jump so quickly on these bandwagons where the trend of belief is concerned. Because especially with Judgment, you're giving it more discernment. You're giving it more of an, you know, you might have fallen for it in the past, but you're not the same person anymore with Judgment. This is evolving and growing into something new. And you're no longer necessarily as ignorant as the Fool is. Especially as this is the second card. So maybe people will start to use more discernment where these beliefs are, I think more people have since 2012 as well, rather than to just succumb to these various things that are out there that people say are going to happen. 8 of Wands and the Chariot. again, I think we will get activity, King of Wands, the Two of Cups, but I believe we'll be okay. I just get kind of like a balance comes in. And I do think we can thank spiritual divine help and the universe balancing and calibrating. So even if we do have some disruption, I'm not seeing what I should see for like, yes, this is, you know, an event that's on the horizon. I have seen things like that, like with COVID. But I'm not getting that with this for right now. So I would say I would be very wary. Okay. So I'm going to leave that right there. And if you appreciate readings like this, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. And I will be looking back at my list. I know I have a couple of videos to make that from requests, so I will be doing that as soon as possible this weekend. All right, guys. See you later. Yeah. And thanks for looking at my ugly morning face.